Evening, everybody. Welcome. Glad to see all your smiling faces tonight. It is 5 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get tonight's meeting going. This is the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners. It's Monday, April 15th, 2024. It is 5 o'clock p.m. We'll call today's meeting to order. And if everybody could rise with me for a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this point in the agenda, we take a brief moment of silence. This is a time for individual silence or individual prayer, reflection, or meditation. We take this time to honor and remember our first responders and the men and women in our military who keep us safe and protect our freedoms at home and abroad. Thank you very much. We have a full board this evening. I want to thank commissioners for being here tonight. We have a few additions and deletions for the agenda. We're deleting item 7E, which was consideration of award for bid for custodial services, and staff has pulled that for a future meeting. And also item 7F, consideration of a resolution to amend the fiscal year budget to recognize revenues from the state of Florida for Division of Emergency Management. That was further clarified as transactions happening in fiscal year 23, so no action was needed. We have a few announcements. The Florida Inland Navigation District, otherwise known as FIND, has a community outreach event coming up. That's Thursday, April 18th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Palm Coast Community Center. Also, Friends of Washington Oaks Earth Day celebration is Saturday, April 20th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Washington Oaks State Park. There's entertainment, vendors, education, plants for sale, and more. $5 per car is the entry fee. You can find more information on washingtonoaks.org. The City of Bunnell State of the City address is Monday, April 22nd at 7 p.m. here in these chambers. There's other viewing options other than being in person, and you can find those at bunnellcity.us. The Palm Coast Songwriters Festival is coming up on Thursday, May 2nd through Sunday, May 5th. Please visit palmcoastsongwritersfestival.com for more information on that event and to purchase tickets. Flagler County is undergoing a website redesign, and we ask for your feedback. We're encouraging residents to complete a short survey that's found on our homepage at flaglercounty.gov. We need your participation in order to make that website as efficient and informative as possible. We have some vacancies on our boards. Flagler County solicits registered voters residing in Flagler County for various citizen volunteer boards. Please visit flaglercounty.gov to view our transparency dashboard page and select citizen advisory boards to view the vacancies that are there. Those positions are open until filled. Upcoming commission meetings, we have our next regular meeting on Monday, May 6th at 9 a.m. All right, our first item of business tonight is under recognitions and proclamations and presentations. And first is a recognition honoring our spring 2024 Citizens Academy graduates. And that's going to be presented by Jonathan Lords. He's our Emergency Management Director and the leader of our fabulous class of graduates.
Well, good evening, Commissioners. It is my true pleasure to present to you our graduating class of the 2024 Winter Citizens Academy. And Mr. Chair and Madam Administrator, if you wouldn't mind joining me up here. And what the plan is, I'm going to read off the names, and if our graduates, once you receive your coin and certificate, if you wouldn't mind standing in front of the dais up here, and once everybody is done, we're going to have a picture taken of the entire group. These are in a vaguely alphabetical order. That's my caveat, just in case I miss somebody. So Jane Chaplin. Julie Baldwin, who I don't think is here, but just in case she joined us. You're escaping already. Shelley Chapman. Jill Krasnowski, who I don't believe is here either. Maxine Coleman. Kathleen Kaminsky. Donna Contrado. Candace Cornelson. Pauline Hatfield. All right. That's my fault. Carol Holden. Did not make it. Okay. Mark Klinger. Greg Lovecamp. Kim McKnight. Just in case they wandered in without me noticing. Fernando Melendez. Connie Lindley. Phyllis Pearson. Richard Nichols. Maven Rogers didn't end up, nope. Ron Silvers. Linnell Silvers. Gina Solik. And Eric Suarez Marias. So congratulations, graduates. And I will turn this over to the man with the camera.
Okay, get inside in together. Probably need to slide in a little. Angle here. Pretend like you like each other. Yeah, the angle.
Angle?
Do a little left, left and right and turns, half turns. Thank you. Congratulations. Looks great. All right. We don't need a motion on that.
No. I just want to thank all the graduates, those that haven't left that are still here. Appreciate your time in this endeavor, our first advisory council since the pandemic. And it was nice to get to know everybody before the meeting. We got a nice little hour of chat with all of the members and had a good time. Anybody else have any comments for the class?
Well, just congratulations to all the graduates, and we look forward to you continuing your efforts to support us here in the county.
Yes,
And
thank you.
And
Congratulations.
all of our citizens.
All right, very good. Thank you again. We'll move on to our proclamations for tonight. Our first is Cisco Dean Day, which is April 18th, 2024. That was requested by Ed Sarkowitz, the Flagler County Historical Society president, and Commissioner Pennington has that one.
Yes, this is a proclamation of the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners proclaiming April of 2024 as Cisco Dean Month in Flagler County, Florida. Whereas historian Claude Cisco Dean was a native Floridian and a longtime Flagler County resident, being born in Daytona Beach, Florida, April 18, 1940. And whereas historian Claude Cisco Dean has for decades served Flagler County and its unincorporated areas and municipalities of Bunnell, Palm Coast, and Flagler Beach, and the residents in the Armed Forces, American Legion Boys State, VFW, DAV, and Boy Scouts of America. And whereas historian Claude Cisco Dean has tirelessly documented the immigration and genealogies of over 320,000 individuals that have ties to Flagler County and its unincorporated areas and municipalities. And whereas historian Claude Cisco Dean had recorded said genealogies, family histories, stories, and obituaries on his website, flaglercountyfamilies.com. And whereas historian Claude Cisco Dean had served as an officer, member of the Board of Directors, and historian of the Governance Committee of Flagler County Historical Society. And whereas during his years of service with the Flagler County Historical Society, Claude Cisco Dean had supported the historical research needs of Flagler County government and the government of its municipalities. And whereas Claude Cisco Dean has supported the research need of Flagler County's historical societies, museums, and diverse history groups. And whereas Claude Cisco Dean received the Marinus Latour Presidential Citation for dedicated support of the Florida Historical Society in 2020. And whereas Claude Cisco Dean passed on from this earthly realm August 31st, 2023. And whereas the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners finds it appropriate to honor the legacy of Claude Cisco Dean and takes great pleasure in honoring his significant service and legacy, and herewith expresses its sincere gratitude for the invaluable contributions he's made to Flagler County and its citizens. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners that we hereby proclaim April 2024 as Cisco Dean Month in Flagler County, and we express sincere appreciation to Claude Cisco Dean for his dedication to the documentation of the history of Flagler County during his lifetime. This has been adopted this 15th day of April and attested by Tom Bexley, our Clerk of Court, and Andrew Dance, our Chair. And I believe the Historical Society is not here in attendance tonight, so I'll take this back to them. Is anybody here with a Dean family?
Don't see anybody?
No.
Would you make a motion for approval, please?
Gentlemen, I'd like to make a motion to approve Cisco Dean Day proclamation.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Pennington, second by Commissioner Hanson. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All right, congratulations to the Historical Society. That's a great designation. I've personally never met anybody with the knowledge
There will never be another Cisco Dean.
of Cisco, so.
He always had
Very
a smile. I
appropriate.
loved working with him. And I did, really, it was a pleasure to sit down with him a number of times out at the Flagler Historical Society and just listen to the knowledge he has, and it was a real joy to do that.
Just a fine gentleman.
All right. Well, it's an honor to be able to present that today. I wish somebody was here, though. Okay, next proclamation is Sexual Assault Awareness Month for April 2024. That's requested by Erin Shannon with the Family Life Center Sexual Assault Service Coordinator for Flagler, Volusia, and others. So
Come on up.
what a great looking crew you got.
Right?
Commissioner Hanson, right, has this one for this
Yes,
evening,
sir.
and we'll read the proclamation.
A proclamation of the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners proclaiming April 2024 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in Flagler County, Florida. Whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month calls attention to the fact that sexual assault violence is widespread and impacts every person in this community. And whereas rape, sexual assault, and sexual harassment impact our community, and statistics show that 1 in 5 women and 1 in 33 men will be raped at some point in their lives, that 1 of 4 boys and 1 in 3 girls will experience a sexual assault before the age of 18. Youth ages 11 through 17 are 2.5 times as likely to be victims of rape or sexual assault, and on campus, 1 in 5 women and 1 in 16 men are sexually assaulted. And whereas during 2023, Family Life Center, as the Certified Rape Crisis Center in Flagler County, provided 65 sexual assault-related community education events, 462 supportive services, and answered 39 sexual assault crisis hotline calls for survivors of sexual assault and their families living in Flagler County. And whereas the Start by Believing public awareness campaign, a program of End Violence Against Women International, is designed to improve the responses of friends, family members, and community professionals so they can help sexual assault victims access supportive resources and engage in criminal justice system. And whereas the City of Flagler County joins advocates and communities across the country because we are the strongest when we raise our voices together to change the culture to prevent sexual violence. Prevention requires addressing the root causes and social norms that allow sexual violence to exist. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and each day of the year is an opportunity to create change for the future. And whereas the Flagler County Advocate Alliance, comprised of victim advocates from Bunnell Police Department, Family Life Center, Flagler Beach Police Department, Flagler County Sheriff's Office, and the Office of the State Attorney, 7th Judicial Court, Flagler, is hereby dedicated to strengthen victims and survivors in the aftermath of crime, building resilience in our communities and our victim responders, and working for a better future for all victims and survivors. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners that they hereby proclaim April 2024 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in Flagler County, and do hereby encourage all citizens to support the Start by Believing public awareness campaign. Adopted this 15th day of April 2024, attested to by Tom Bexley, Clerk of the Court and Comptroller, and signed by Andrew Dance, our Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve April 2024 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hanson, seconded by Commissioner Pennington. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to say a few words if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
My name is Erin Shannon. I'm the Sexual Assault Services Coordinator for Family Life Center for both Flagler and Volusia counties. So those of you that don't know, Flagler County merged with Volusia County Services last year, and seeing the camaraderie and collaboration with the community and city council for our survivors has been absolutely stellar and has absolutely set the bar. I want to first say thank you to my entire SV team of social justice warriors, our entire Family Life Center work family, our sexual violence warriors who came before us, who ran toward the flames to make sure future survivors did not have the same barriers, and everyone who continues to provide top-notch services to our survivors along their journey. I especially want to say thank you to Bikers Against Child Abuse, who have prioritized our mission insanely, just a lot. And the services that they provide for our survivors and children is just exemplary, and I appreciate them being here with us. Sexual assault is not an easy topic to talk about, even for professionals. Our normal everyday vocabulary, both in and out of the office, is not even widely accepted or acknowledged in some places we go. However, these proclamations and allowing us the platform to say the difficult words out loud on behalf of every single survivor and their families who walk through our door allows their voices to be heard and the understandably difficult storytelling to fall on the ears of people who can help them instead of harm them. This in turn creates safer communities and safe places for survivors to go where there's no judgment and the shame dies. We appreciate you for welcoming us, prioritizing sexual violence, and understanding that it has no place in our communities, but that when it does happen, we are there to empower and guide our survivors to healing from the unimaginable. We could not do any of this without your support. I'm going to hand it over to my sexual violence advocate, Tanya, to give you some stats and read a story.
Good evening. My name is Tanya. I am the Sexual Assault Services Advocate for Family Life Center. I'm going to bypass the statistics because it has already been stated. But I do want to make you aware of the different services that the Family Life Center offers. We have our shelter program. And with our shelter program, what is missed by a lot of people is it's community living. It's already hard enough to leave your home with everything you know about is there, to community living and having to share a room with people you've never seen or heard before. Learning how to adjust to another way that a person does things compared to the way you do it, cooking food that you've never had before, and learning how to work together. We also have the residential support groups, our safety planning, information and referrals, education and training, which is extremely important that they keep us updated as advocates, be it domestic violence or sexual assault. We are consistently updated with information that is needed to help our participants. Legal advocacy, we have a paralegal along with an attorney that will help with the injunctions that you have. You're hearing my alarm go off because, quite honestly, every minute to 2 minutes, there's another victim. We provide food, we provide clothing, we provide the products and laundry that they may need. We provide beds. We provide the sheets, the blanket, everything that they need, we try to have it there for them, along with working with them and their children. I am going to read to you a poem that was written by a victim. I want to disclose a warning for anyone that may have been a victim of sexual assault. It could trigger you. I also will kind of go out of character to read it in the emphasis of how it was written. Teen dating program. Our school has a garden tucked away behind it, almost forgotten and always shielded. The garden would silently sit between the football field and the track field, and within it was our place to go together and visit. We were young and desperately in love. We were like Adam and Eve once our eyes met. You would tell me poetry, and I would listen as I bask in your excellence. We were perfect, you and I, perfect alone in the garden. But I realized soon enough that Satan takes on many forms in you, the form of doubt, the form of betrayal, and the form of pain, just to name a few. I thought that you were everything I ever wanted and was what I was to you, but you needed more. You needed her. And even though she was a spitting image of me, She shared my dreams, my words, and my family. You thought I never knew how she became distant, more hidden, and more aloof. How I silently walked to our garden and saw her kissing you. Our relationship spiraled out of control. I had to let her stay or you'd leave me. That's what you told me a while ago. And just like the fruit of our love, I took it and I turned away from God and everyone I know. Much like the pain Eve drew, I paid for it every day. Our son woke up to my screams as you dragged me away. He watched helplessly as I fainted while you choked me in my room. My body is peppered with the scars that reminded me how you'd always make me stay. And that even though I was with you, I was totally alone. When I only wanted to build a family, a life, and a home, my sister and I felt your rage and your disgust. Your hatred blossomed into thorns that constantly latched onto us. This three-way relationship turned into a prison, and the bars of our hearts were stained with rust. Our son is traumatized by the way you treated us. Your daughter, blinded by my sister's blood, was so confused as her little face contorted and cried. I forgot how often we were hospitalized. My sister and I, who were no longer enough, you let Satan take you deep into your delusions. Your righteous acts dimmed with our stains. My scars ache now that we're cut loose, and my trust in my sister has never been the same. I'm left with your son and one more to come. She's left with your daughter and a distraught frame. At least my unborn child will never get to see the true monster you always were in the garden, the ugly monster you became. That is a poem that has been written by a victim of sexual assault. I thank you for your time and thank you for this proclamation. It means a lot to all of us because everyone that you see behind us works hard every hour of the day to try to avoid this kind of life. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that wanted to say anything? How about a picture? Don't leave yet without a picture. Everybody,
Don't leave.
can y'all come up?
Stand in front.
Thank you all.
Thank you for all you do. Hard work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Joseph, unfortunately, you have to follow that one. I have to take a deep breath before we move on from that one. The next proclamation is Volunteer Week for Meals on Wheels, April 21st through 27th, 2024. This is requested by Joseph Hegedus, our Health and Human Services Director. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having me in.
Yes, sir.
The proclamation.
And tonight, Commissioner Sullivan has that one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I see here, a proclamation of the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners proclaiming April 21st through 27th, 2024 as Volunteer Week for Meals on Wheels in Flagler County. Whereas National Volunteer Week is an opportunity to recognize, honor, and celebrate the countless individuals who selfishly invest in the lives of others. And whereas Meals on Wheels of Flagler County, Florida, delivers meals weekly to those who are homebound and unable to prepare food for themselves. And whereas volunteer drivers of Meals on Wheels of Flagler County are the integral part to the program, delivering nutritious meals, caring concern, and attention to the welfare of seniors in our community, enhancing overall quality of life. And whereas volunteering one's time, talents, and resources strengthens communities, improves social problems, and enhances the quality of life of others, it is essential for our senior community that tradition of volunteering, giving, and sharing will persevere in Flagler County. And whereas each year a special week is designated in our nation for the dual purpose of recognizing those who give of themselves tirelessly and selflessly while serving others, and of encouraging all citizens to become involved in volunteer work. And it is fitting at this time that we say thank you to all individuals, groups, and businesses who have given time, energy, and resources to their communities through volunteering. Whereas the Meals on Wheels Association of America established the National March for Meals campaign to recognize the historic week, the importance of Older Americans Act senior nutrition programs, and raise awareness about senior hunger in America. And whereas Flagler County wishes to call upon the citizens of Flagler County to volunteer service and/or make a donation to support local Meals of Wheels support. Whereas older persons are diverse, respected citizens who continue to contribute to our nation's social and economic well-being as they live longer, healthier, and more productive lives, many even starting second careers. And whereas as America grows older, each community must strive to understand and address evolving challenges and the needs of our older citizens and for the people who care for them. And whereas the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead require us to think differently about health and long-term care and work together to ensure that older Americans can age strong, long, and with dignity for their lives. Now, therefore, the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners do hereby proclaim April 21st through 27th, 2024 as Volunteer Week for Meals on Wheels in Flagler County and call upon residents of Flagler County to join Flagler County Senior Services in observing the week with appropriate activities, programs, and ceremonies promoting the spirit of volunteerism in our community. Adopted this 15th day of April 2024, tested Tom Bexley, Clerk of Court, signed by our Chair, Andrew Dance. Well, thank you very much. And here is the signed proclamation, and I make a motion that we approve the proclamation.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Sullivan, seconded by Commissioner Pennington. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hey, congratulations. Good
Thank you
evening.
so much, Chair Dance and Commissioners. I appreciate the proclamation. I'll be very brief and just want to take a moment to, again, thank all of our volunteers. I think I presented at our last meeting on the 1st that last year we had close to 31,000 meals delivered to our homebound and folks receiving services through this program. So that's an incredible amount of resources. That program would not operate without our volunteers. Just last month, we had 35 volunteers delivering meals throughout the community, delivering over 2,000, almost 2,100 meals. So again, that program would not be what it is today and would not keep growing every year without the support of our wonderful volunteers, many of whom have been with us throughout the years and helping us keep that program a success. So again, thank you, and appreciate taking the moment for the proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
This is one of those services that very few people know about. that we do as a county that is so valuable to our citizens. And so, congratulations. You guys do a great job.
Well,
doing
thank
it.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing, that it's a great service. It's one of the many social programs that we have in the county that we do. And this one really depends on the volunteers. The people who do this are absolutely dedicated because they do it week after week. And it's a lot of driving involved. Pretty big county when you head out to the western part. The drives can be fairly long. So congratulations again for.
And you
job
notice
well
the
done.
next proclamation is Volunteer
Right.
Month. Perfect.
I was going to mention, we segue into the next one.
Segue
and
right into
we
that.
support them as well. So thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And again, a perfect segue into the next proclamation, which is National Volunteer Month for April 2024. This was requested by Judy Mazzella, Volunteer Service Project Coordinator, but I see Susie is here this evening, so state your name for the record and welcome.
Hi, I'm Susie Gamblain. I'm the Executive Director for Flagler Volunteer Services.
And who's got that one? Oh, Commissioner O'Brien. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. And Susie and Judy are kind of like interchangeable almost
Sorry.
for many years, right?
Yes, yes.
All right. Well, thank you. This is a proclamation of the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners proclaiming April 2024 as Volunteer Month in Flagler County. Whereas April is National Volunteer Month, established as the official time to recognize and celebrate the efforts of volunteers nationwide. And whereas volunteerism strengthens communities, improves social problems, and enhances the overall quality of life for all citizens, including children, seniors, those who are disabled, the impoverished, the imprisoned, the homeless, the physically or mentally ill, or those otherwise in need of assistance. And whereas volunteering changes the lives of volunteers in a positive way, increasing self-confidence, self-esteem, and physical well-being, offering the chance to meet new friends and associates, and providing opportunities to learn new skills and abilities. And whereas volunteerism is proven to have a positive influence on businesses that are socially responsible, increasing employee morale, loyalty and teamwork, and building goodwill toward the company. And whereas nonprofits, charities, community faith-based groups, and national service partnerships in Flagler County have joined together with state and local governments in celebration and praise of volunteers who have given tirelessly and selflessly to the service of others, and whereas volunteers supporting many of Flagler County's departments save our taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars each year, as we've just talked about. Now therefore, the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners do hereby proclaim April 2024 as Volunteer Month in Flagler County and call upon residents of Flagler County to join us and the Flagler County Volunteer Services in observing the month with appropriate activities, programs, and ceremonies promoting the spirit of volunteerism in our community. Adopted this 15th day of April 2024, attested to by Tom Bexley, Clerk of the Circuit Court, and signed by our chair, Mr. Andy Dance. Mr. Chair, I move adoption of the proclamation.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner O'Brien, seconded by Commissioner Hanson. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
So congratulations and
Thank
good
you
evening.
so much. I do also want to share just a few words. I'll try to be quick. I know that since COVID, we've definitely had some changes in volunteerism. It kind of like hit a wall and then it dropped, and now we're on a steady increase. We're getting right back up to where we used to be. So I wanted to share some statistics. Last year, we had 1,665 volunteers who were active, and they reported serving 99,086 hours. So that's just what's reported. So that's definitely a tip of the iceberg. There's many volunteers who don't report what they're doing. So this is, for us, we know this is a very small amount compared to what is the actual reality. But the value based on the independent sector for a volunteer hour would be a over $3 million value to our community. Even at minimum wage, it's well over $1 million. So it brings a great value to our community. I wanted to share a few of our agency's accomplishments over the past year. Our agency provides volunteer support to all the local nonprofits and government agencies that need assistance in Flagler County. Last year, we made 323 volunteer referrals. So that's people that were looking for volunteer work that were matched with some place that was looking for help. So we were able to do that. And that included places like many of the places that were mentioned above us, the Historical Society, the Family Life Center, Meals on Wheels. We've supported all of those agencies at some time or another in our past. We also conducted 43 volunteer-driven trainings, and most of those were disaster-based. So we do a lot of work with the disaster in the disaster world. We have quite a handful of volunteers who do the trainings themselves, and they do disaster preparedness trainings for the community members. We assisted with 41 special events last year, and those special events include things like Earth Day that you mentioned, or the Songwriter program that you mentioned. We are recruiting right now for both of those programs and have volunteers lined up to assist. We also acted as the lead agency for the volunteers and donations for all Flagler County emergency management activations. So we partner with emergency management, sit at the EOC during all activations, and help with any kind of disaster-related activity in our county. We had 85 Reading Pal volunteers that worked with students in our Flagler County School District. They worked with 214 students at all the elementary schools. So we have volunteers at each elementary school. They work weekly with the children to improve their reading skills. We had 85 volunteers who helped 354 children experience the joy of giving during our Giving Store program, which allowed children to come out and select gifts free of charge to give to their family members. We want to do something a little different than Christmas where they get gifts for themselves. We teach them to give because we know that that's the spirit of volunteerism. And then we also had 33 Blanketeer volunteers who made over 800 handmade items for people facing crisis, everything from teen moms to hospice patients and people who were affected by one way or another, some type of crisis in their life. So our volunteers are doing really amazing things out in the community. We're very proud of them and we're always excited for the month of April to express our appreciation for them. And I want to thank all of you because you are big supporters of us and of volunteerism in Flagler County, and your support really means a lot. So thank you all.
Thank you. Could you introduce who you brought with you up here?
I've Denise Gallo, who's our vice chair of the board of directors, and Bob Reese, who is our secretary.
Thank you all. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Yes.
We appreciate everything you do. I mean, everywhere you turn in the county, there's volunteers helping somebody. And
Yeah. I've been here for 30 years doing volunteer management in one way or another. This will be my 30th year later on during the year. But I've been here for 30 years. And when I came on, I had no idea what volunteers did. And throughout the course of my career, I just absolutely, and it never fails to amaze me, the amazing things that volunteers do. They are everywhere, and they are doing all kinds of work and very highly skilled. They're not, they do everything from shoveling sand during a hurricane to being on a board of directors and leading agencies. So they're amazing people, all of them.
Commissioners, anything to add?
Just thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I'd just like to say it is great, and it's good to know that since COVID, things are getting better again.
They really are. They're improving in every which way. I'm just trying to get back to where people are documenting what they're doing for me, because that's a hard part where a lot of people have gotten away from the documentation of it. But they are out there doing all kinds of things, and organizations are starting that backed away from using volunteers to utilizing them again now since COVID. So we're seeing all kinds of change and improvement every single day.
Well, come on up. We'll receive your proclamation and get a picture. Good to see you too. Right here in the center.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Susie? Always good to see you, Daddy. Good to see you.
Tell Judy we said hi.
I sure will.
And we missed her. All right, our last proclamation of the night. It'll be my honor to read this one. I brought this forward, but I'd like to bring Kevin White up to receive it for us. Kevin's the Government Affairs Chair for the Florida chapter of the American Society of Landscape Architecture. Kevin and I have worked together on lots of ASLA projects in the past, and glad to drove down from Jacksonville. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. A proclamation of the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners proclaiming April 2024 as Landscape Architecture Month in Flagler County, Florida. Whereas landscape architecture is a multifaceted profession that encompasses the analysis, design, planning, management, and stewardship of the natural and built environment, playing a crucial role in shaping the spaces where people live, work, and play. And whereas landscape architects design and create community master plans, walkable neighborhoods, multimodal transportation networks, green stormwater systems, and accessible spaces such as public plazas, parks, schools, residential common areas, playgrounds, and trails that lead to active lifestyles and healthy communities. And whereas the American Society of Landscape Architects, founded on January 4th, 1899, has reached the remarkable milestone of its 125th anniversary. And whereas the 125th anniversary of the American Society of Landscape Architects is an opportunity to reflect on the profession's transformative impact on public health, safety, and welfare through the thoughtful design, analysis, management, and stewardship of the natural and built environments in Flagler County, contributing to the overall well-being of its residents. And whereas landscape architects are STEM professionals leveraging science, technology, engineering, and mathematic knowledge to address the most pressing challenges facing its communities, fostering innovation, research, and leadership in the field. And whereas landscape architects as licensed professionals have consistently demonstrated their commitment to public health, safety, and welfare by designing accessible and safe public spaces, promoting active lifestyles, and fostering resilient and sustainable outdoor environments in Flagler County. And whereas landscape architects as licensed professionals have played an integral role in shaping the economic, social, and cultural fabric of Flagler County, and whereas Landscape Architecture Month is celebrated in April in conjunction with the birth date of Frederick Law Olmsted, who is recognized as the founder of American landscape architecture and the nation's foremost park maker. Whereas Flagler County recognizes the vital role of licensed landscape architects in shaping healthy, equitable, safe, and resilient public and private outdoor spaces, contributing to the overall well-being of its citizens. And whereas Flagler County acknowledges the impact of landscape architects in addressing climate change and biodiversity through innovative and sustainable design practices, creating resilient and green infrastructure to withstand and respond to severe weather events, ultimately reducing the burden on state and local funds for disaster recovery efforts. And whereas Flagler County celebrates the economic benefits derived from licensed landscape architects, acknowledging their role in creating inviting and safe spaces that contribute to the state's economy while simultaneously preserving the environment and ecological systems. And whereas Flagler County acknowledges Florida International University and the University of Florida, go Gators, for their accredited landscape architecture programs, nurturing and inspiring students to become the next generation of leaders and innovators in landscape architecture within Flagler County. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners that they hereby proclaim April 2024 as Landscape Architecture Month, honoring the 125th anniversary of the American Society of Landscape Architects in Flagler County, and do hereby recognize the enduring contributions of landscape architects to the well-being and prosperity of Flagler County, adopted this 15th day of April 2024, attested by Tom Bexley, Clerk of the Court, and signed by me, the chairman and landscape architect. Imagine that. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you. We appreciate you, Andy. You've been a mentor to me for a long time. You're one of only a few landscape architects that serve on public office throughout the state, and that's with the over 1,600 registered landscape architects in the state. And we're very thankful for your leadership through the many years, and thank you for recognizing our profession, sir.
Well, I appreciate you again coming down. This is just an opportunity. Kevin and I are going to be working on an advocacy class in June for the annual conference for the American Society of Landscape Architects, and these are important in helping us inform the public of what we do. So for us, it's important, and we like to just get the word out as many times as we can. So if you you can come up to the dais, come to the back way.
We should move to
Make a
approve
motion?
Yeah, I
that
can't do
proclamation.
that. Would someone do that for me?
Make a motion
I just-
to approve April 2024 as Landscape Architecture Month.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Pennington, seconded by Commissioner Sullivan. All those in favor signify with aye.
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 Thank you. All right.
Very good. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Joe, could you come up? We did not get a picture with you, so if you can bring your proclamation, we'll get a picture.
Right here?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Make it official.
Thank you.
Appreciate
All
it
right.
once again.
Hit
Thank
the
you,
social
everybody.
media with that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right, we will move on to community and board comments. Right now, this is community outreach, 30-minute time period allocated for public comment on any consent agenda item or topic not on the agenda. Each speaker will be allowed up to 3 minutes to address the commission. Speakers should approach the podium, identify themselves, and direct comments to the chair. At this time, I'll open public comment. Is there anybody that would like to address the commission? All right, seeing none, we'll close public comment and bring it to the board for any comments on consent items. Commissioner Hanson,
I have none.
Commissioner Pennington,
None.
Commissioner Sullivan?
I just was amazed that the county I used to live in up in Virginia is mentioned in the uniform thing for a sample contract. Prince William County, Virginia. Been a while since I was there. No, nothing else.
Okay, and Commissioner O'Brien?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, great. We'll go to consent items. We are going to look at our consent minus the two that were pulled, 7E and 7F are no longer in consent. I'll accept a motion on consent.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hanson, seconded by Commissioner Pennington. All those in favor signify with aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. That will move us to our general business items. 8A is a quasi-judicial item. It's a request for approval of a final plat for Plantation Bay Section 2A through F, Unit 9B, portion of the parcel numbers and which are indicated on the agenda. Owner is WL Residential Land, agent is Jerry Finley. And just want to make a reminder to our public that this is a final plat of a previous project approval. This is not a new development. You may ask, what is a final plat? Final plat is the legal document that is recorded with the clerk of court. It's the final requirement of the development process. The sale of subdivided lots can only proceed after this recording. Article 4 in our Land Development Code defines a final plat as the detailed drawing to scale and supporting data representing a land survey of lots, blocks, streets, and easements, and the location and specifications for streets, utilities, and other improvements. The streets, utilities, and stormwater infrastructure have been constructed for this project, and staff is just submitting this final plat to the County Commission, stating that it is consistent with the preliminary plat and the PUD site development plans that were previously approved. Adam Mengel.
One
Yep.
quasi.
Quasi,
Yep. Let's disclose our quasi-judicial communications. Commissioner Hanson,
I've had none.
Commissioner Pennington,
None.
Commissioner Sullivan,
None.
Commissioner O'Brien,
None.
and I've had none. Thank you, sir.
Growth Management Director Adam Mengel, and this is application 4459, final plat for 9B. We've had it go through a couple of steps, and I'll hit those very quickly. And you see Regency Road there. This is that area for the 9B happening in relation to US 1 that you see along the bottom left, and then Bay Drive extension that just recently opened, kind of coming in with that intersection you can see at the bottom. This was the overall development map that we used as part of our 9B approval. You can see it circled in that area, kind of just to the left of the center of the graphic here. Shows it in relation to the entire development plan. That was from back in 2022 when we approved the 9B PUD. These are the 7 pages that compose the final plat, the cover sheet, along with its dedications, the overall plan for the development. Then you have the individual pages, the road coming in. That's the extension of Sterling Bridge Drive with each of its pages, then a bulk of it in a single parcel that you'll see. So that while I listed part of the DRI within Plantation Bay Development of Regional Impact, that Unit 9B approval was back in 2022, as I mentioned, approved through ordinance number 2022-02, 81 single-family attached lots that were part of the PUD approval, and on approximately 61.88 acres. The predominant parcel here is that 31331. It's in Section 3, Township 13, Range 31 East. And that's all that south of that Regency Boulevard, I think is what it's called, Regency Road. Mix of duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, and sixplexes. You can see the math there that I included. And predominantly the sixplexes are the units because those are so many units there that are with each of those 8. They are interspersed, and there are 11 tracks. Along with those 11 tracks, those are dedicated, a mix of WL residential land retained by the developer, by the owner-developer, Creekside West Townhomes Property Owners Association, or the Tomoka Community Development District. There's also a separate tract that's outlined that's going to FGUA, but it wasn't part of the plat, it wasn't called out specifically there. And then the reason why we're coming here with this as a general business item, you had that before, we have the bonds that are part of the consideration always with the plat. And so you have the maintenance bond, and then the only thing that's left with this one is the setting of lot corners for your performance bond. That's why it's such a small dollar amount. Mr. Smith's present on behalf of the owner for any questions. He's pretty eager to get this through. This is the PUD setbacks that we approved before. Just as a reminder there, no surprises here, remembering you've got a 0 setback on these because these are attached units. Options for the board approval, that's finding that a PUD site development plan is consistent with the comprehensive plan, land development code, DRI development order. And then you're also then accepting the maintenance bond in the amount of $281,938.97. Performance bond in the amount of $12,387.50 for the subdivision improvements. Alternatively, bless you, you could deny this request. That would be on the basis that one of those things is not consistent. And then the final option would be continuing this item to a time and date certain for myself or Mr. Smith to come back and present whatever questions you have to you at a later meeting. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll close. Wait any questions or comments. Again, Mr. Smith's present for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, did you want to address the board or have any presentation or anything? Okay. All right. So is there any questions for the applicant or for Mr. Mengel?
No, sir.
All right.
None.
At this time, I'll open it up for, open the floor for public comment. If there's anybody here that would like to speak on this item, now is the time. Come address the commission. All right. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. And I'll come back to the dais for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve item 8A, final plat for Plantation Bay, Section 2.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Hanson, second by Commissioner O'Brien. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. We'll move to item 8B, consideration to convey land to Hammock Dunes CDD for intersection improvements. This is to approve the purchase and sale agreement conveying approximately .29 acres to the Hammock Dunes CDD and approve the authorizing resolution. This is requested by the county's attorney's office. Are you, Mr. Moylan, you're going to
Yes, Chairman.
present this?
Yes. This is a straightforward land transaction. I'm assuming everyone has seen the depiction in the agenda memo. We're talking about approximately 13,000 square feet of raw land adjacent to Camino del Mar and also Hammock Dunes Parkway. And the purpose is for the CDD to, I believe there's going to be some turn lanes. They're going to be making some improvements to the intersection at the bottom of the toll bridge. This is not subject to the A1A Scenic Corridor Overlay District requirements. It's not a county roadway. These are roads that are owned by the CDD. And so we're just helping them for the public good to have a better intersection. And I would add, they're going to be giving us as consideration $50,000 worth of credit, capacity credits for their sewer system, which we utilize through some of our beach parks. I guess the last thing I would mention is the agreement does give them a full year to close the transaction. I have no idea if they intend to take that long or not, but that is how it was requested, and that's how it's written. There is an attorney for the CDD here with us, Mr. Jared Trent, if you had any specific questions about the project.
Did they want to present anything or just be available for questions? Okay. All right, thank you. So at this time, I'll open it up for questions for Mr. Moylan. Yes, sir.
Yeah, will we get a chance to look at their plan of how they're going to do that? It seems to me if you take the 2 lanes they have now coming off the bridge and make it into 3 lanes, who's going to tell which car to go? It seems to me that this in conjunction with a stoplight makes sense. But, you know, I don't want to create a traffic mess.
Right. So we don't have any say legally. However, if I'm sure they want to, I mean, it's their road and
Right.
it's they own it. They don't need to get any type of permission from us. But as a matter of comity and getting along, and they did submit an early drawing that I have somewhere in my email. It's an engineered drawing. They don't have any renderings, artistic sort of renderings at this point. I'm sure that they're listening and they will take this message back that we may have some concerns about what this is going to look like on the other side. But the document in front of you for consideration is just a straightforward purchase and sale agreement. It doesn't, it's not an interlocal agreement that gives us some type of ability to weigh in or any sort of veto power over their design.
I don't think we need veto power, but I'd just be curious how they're going to make it work. I'd appreciate if they would come back and have a full design and just show us what they're going to do. That's all.
Yes, sir. We can make that request formally.
Commissioner Sullivan.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I look at this as a positive development. This is an issue that kind of tied into the whole idea of better beach access and getting across. We only have one bridge now that really is non-toll and that kind of thing. But in any event, when it was briefed by the Hammock Dunes CDD to that group we were meeting with Flagler Beach and On Coast and the Hammock, I think the idea was this is going to be a step process. They got to get this step done, and then they got to design it, and they've got to put in the extra lanes. But light is pretty expensive, and so I look at it as a step process. This is important first step, and give them room to actually expand the intersection there. But you're right about ultimately. But I do think they understand that it's probably going to have to be 2 or 3 steps to get it to really works, and that probably involves a traffic light at some point.
Any other questions? I would, my comments are similar to Commissioner Hanson in that the Sun Trail network that we've gone through extensive lengths to supply grants for, all tie in and cross the bridge and tie into the A1A corridor. So it's important, I think, that we do have some oversight into making sure that there's a continuous flow through for the Sun Trail project. And Hamid would be great to be part of that discussion. And then I would request that our, department, our engineering department be in tune with their design process so that that walkway meets the requirements of that continuous Sun Trail.
Yes, so Mr. Trent is here, and we'll make sure that they get that message. We'll speak with Mr. Pugh and let them know that we are interested in making the Sun Trail continue to have a good flow, and also obviously the traffic flow and what that's going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, there is challenges. I mean, not only with traffic without a light regulating it, but with pedestrian crossing safely and without a light, or I'm not sure if there's other avenues, but what the traffic engineers are there for is to make that a safe intersection. So we'll rely on those professionals and DOT. I'm sure they'll follow DOT guidelines.
Right.
But this is a chance to make it safer.
Yeah.
Like consider a bicyclist coming over the bridge.
Right.
The bike lane just stops. So there's, we could do that better for sure. Yeah.
All right. If there's no other questions, I'll open this up for public comment. If there's anybody from the public that wanted to address this issue, this particular agenda item. All right, seeing none, we'll close public comment, bring it back to the board for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve to the conveyance of land to Hammock Dunes CDD for intersection improvements.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hanson, seconded by Commissioner Sullivan. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Item 8C, consideration of an interlocal agreement with the Dunes Community Development District for stormwater special assessment. This is to approve the interlocal agreement requested by the County Attorney's Office.
Yes, Chair. This one, you may recall, in December, we brought to you a resolution that you adopted creating this assessment district, but which did not lock you into anything. You didn't levy any assessment. It was a preliminary step. This is the next step in that process. And so what we have is an agreement with the Dune CDD, which is a special purpose local government, because they don't have the ability to assess these properties which lie outside of their boundaries. And so they requested the county to levy it on their behalf. This interlocal agreement lays out the deal points of how that can happen. We would have to base any levy on an engineering study that shows us which properties are discharging water into their stormwater system. Vacant properties, for example, would be exempt from any assessment because they absorb water directly into their soil and have a negligible impact on the stormwater system of the CDD. But improved residential properties that flow into their system would be assessed. In this the way this is structured, you are essentially I would call you a pass-through. You are levying the assessment, but it is for their benefit, again, because these lands lie outside of their boundaries. And for those who may not be as familiar, just to orient you, the district is bounded on the south by Jungle Hut Road and on the north by 16th, and it goes east to west from A1A to Hammock Dunes Parkway, if you can sort of picture that area.
All right, Is there anybody from the Hammock Dunes Community Development District to present as well?
Well, Mr. Jared Trent is here again from
right.
that last item.
All right, so nothing from the applicant. We'll bring it back for questions. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember back, I think we had this discussion in December, but the bridge tolls don't cover this, I guess, so they're operating in the red, I'm assumed, to do this wastewater collection.
Yes, stormwater,
Stormwater.
rainwater. They did mention some numbers in their presentation here in December. Off the top of my head, I don't
I remember
remember those
talking about
dollar
it.
figures, but they were saying they had needs, that their system had upgrades and maintenance needs, and they were looking to recoup whatever they can by way of revenue.
Yeah, because they just raised the bridge toll. Or not just, but just recently they
Yes.
raised the bridge toll.
The stormwater, keep in mind, the money must be segregated. You can't commingle it, and it must be spent on their stormwater system to benefit the properties that are being assessed. So they can't take the money from these properties and then spend it on fixing up their beach or some unrelated matter. So I'm not familiar with their tolls on the bridge and their budgets and where that money goes.
Well, that's an interesting neighborhood in that area. You know, we've got the new beach walk, and then we've got these two other streets that are going to develop probably with $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 homes. But then you get into a neighborhood that's not so much trailers, things
Yes.
like that. So, you know, I read it and I thought, oh, we're going to burden some people. You know, we're going to.
There could be some homeowners there on the Shady Lane neighborhood who say, hey, I've been here for half a century and I've never paid anything, so why now? And we would be the ones faced with answering those questions. It would be at a public hearing in September, or it has to be done before September 15th by law, that we would levy the assessment at a public hearing, and we could hear objections. We could choose not to levy it. That is, this agreement sets out the parameters of how this can happen, but it reserves to you your legislative discretion whether to do it or not, and in what amounts.
Yeah,
Mr. Sullivan.
It's a standard fee. It doesn't matter the value of the property being assessed. In other words, it's
That's
just-
right. It's based on impervious surface areas, and there's a formula that we use. It's been upheld by the Florida Supreme Court, where you're taking an average of.
So it could be different though, if you had an acre versus a quarter acre lot.
It could be if you had a double-sized lot or something. It could be different, but we do use standardization, so it's very hard to measure perfectly every single property's impervious surfaces.
And the residences or the lots that were within the CDD, do they pay a special fee?
They pay an assessment now. I'm not sure if stormwater is broken out separately. What I can, if you don't mind, one thing I could say too is before this hearing, everybody in there who's subject to the assessment would get a letter in the mail. So it's not going to be a shocker. And I believe the number, Mr. Trent, if I'm right, was it $60 a year, 60 at this point? That's the number that was proposed at this point.
I guess politically, like getting back to Commissioner Hanson, all of a sudden, these people who live in houses forever are going to get a fee, and they'll say, well, I don't see this fee being charged to the people within the CDD because it's not broken out separately. So I don't know. You're right. It could cause a little contention that way. Chance to do good education.
Some of the homes on Shady Lane, for instance, are just a tent. You know,
Yeah.
so.
And I'm not familiar with the layout. I don't know which neighborhoods empty into their ditch or not, but that's what the engineering study would tell us. Certainly, people don't like to pay what they view as a tax, right? And so they're going to have an opportunity to object.
I agree. Beach Walk is kind of a that's fairly clear cut there.
Yeah, remember we discussed drainage on that one.
Yeah.
You know, ad nauseum.
It
We
goes into
discussed
the
the drainage on that one.
Okay. That's all I got.
So there's some unknowns yet to be determined with an engineering study. The same residences that we've brought up on Cheney Lake could be determined that they don't contribute to the system. Ultimately, it's going to depend on the study.
That's correct.
Okay.
Did we get an answer to Mr. Sullivan's question that each home will be different, be assessed differently?
Most would be the same. If someone, we're going to take an average type size of house, but if someone happens to own more acreage than someone else, like a double or triple lot, they could be assessed more. But it's not based on the value. It's not ad valorem, though.
Any other questions for Mr. Moylan? All right, at this time, I'll open it up for public comment. If there's anybody from the public that wishes to comment on this item. All right, seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board. Open to the floor for discussion or for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve this interlocal agreement because we're going to get a chance. We're going to get another bite at this apple. And so I think we need to approve it to keep the ball rolling down the road. So I move that we approve this interlocal agreement.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hanson, seconded by Commissioner O'Brien. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. All right, we're going to move to our public hearing. This is 9A, a legislative item. This is adoption of an ordinance contracting the Radiance Community Development District, shrinking it. There's 4 parcels that wish to be removed, if I read everything correctly. Mr. Mangle.
Adam Mangle, Growth Management Director. On the graphic that you have displayed, this is also within the petition. This gives you the boundaries of the current limits in red, and then shown in yellow are the 4 contraction parcels. See, they're bordering I-95. These are all billboard sites. And so that what will happen then, and then here the zoom of that same view, each of these separately, they're referred to as easements, but each of them displayed throughout the request. And so when we did the ordinance that allowed for the CDD to be created in 2022, these were within the limits. They are part of the parcel. But the CDD since then has decided to take those out of the CDD boundaries. It's a negligible change. You can see there that it's 0.393 acres in size. We're changing from 610 acres and change to 610 acres and change. There's no financial impact with this, and pretty straightforward. So that I think the reason here was some financial reason. We had inquired briefly about that, but didn't really get a good response. But I think it does make sense then if it's not effectively not a contributing parcel to the CDD, not something that's set up for development, not something that would benefit from infrastructure, then these 4 parcels kind of make sense for them to be pulled out. They're intended to continue as billboard parcels, and they're not part of the development scheme within the CDD. So our recommendation is that you approve the contraction to remove the 4 parcels.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody from the other side?
I am here with their apologies that they were unable to attend, and I will attempt to answer any questions you have.
Okay. Anybody have questions for Mr. Mangle?
I do.
Commissioner Sullivan.
I have a statement and one question. First, is there any access problem?
No, we resolved that, if you remember, through the easement dedication that we had, where we had aligned the easement a few meetings ago.
Okay, and the only other comment I would make is it is the most pages of paperwork per acre that we've ever had to look at here. Every one of those had about 20 pages each.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Nothing else.
Anybody else? Is there a reverter if these can't be rebuilt if a storm blows them down, or if laws change that remove billboards, is there a reverter in there that would bring them back to the CDD, or do we just have to go through this process again?
Good question. We would have to go through this process again. And so we do, you're aware of that, we have prohibition on billboards, new ones. And so that if these were damaged beyond the 50%, they would be prohibited from being rebuilt. And so that's a valid concern, and that only then could happen. The repair, correction, replacement, anything above 50% of that value then would only happen, well, it wouldn't happen at all. And so then to bring those 4 parcels back in would be through the CDD. I suppose you could also waive the requirements. I think one of these billboards is actually one that is used for tourism development right now, so.
I mean, I get it. They're right. They're not, you said they're not contributing and they're not going to need any services at all from the CDD, but, all right. Any other comments? Seeing none, I'll open it up for public comment. If there's anybody from the public that wants to comment on this agenda item. Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for discussion or motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve adoption of an ordinance contracting the Radiance Community Development District.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hanson, seconded by Commissioner Pennington. All those in favor signify with aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, sir. Moving down to administrator report.
Thank you. I only have one thing. As a follow-up to that joint public safety meeting that we had previously with the City of Palm Coast and the Sheriff's Office, we're looking for an additional date for a follow-up meeting, and I just wanted to get input as to schedules, if there's any conflicts or preference with either one of the dates. We're looking at Tuesday, May 28th, or Wednesday, May 29th, and it would either be from 2 to 4 or 3 to 5.
I was hoping for like November 9th or 10th.
We can delay it.
I like the 3 to 5, but
What day of the week
Either
is that?
day.
I don't have my calendar.
We have a
Is it Tuesday,
Tuesday and a Wednesday, May 28th or May 29th,
And what were the times?
either 2 to 4 or 3 to 5.
I can't do the 29th. That is conflicting with my NEFAC Regional Leadership Academy.
28th works.
28th, okay with me.
28th works for me.
fine.
28th, and a preference 2 to 4 or 3 to 5?
Later.
3 to
The
5
3
it
to
is?
5.
Hold on a sec.
Does that work?
Pull that one back up again.
Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, the 28th.
In May.
And what were the options?
Either 2 to 4 or 3 to 5.
I think they both are going to make me miss AHAC, so it doesn't matter either way.
I
Um,
heard 2 would prefer later, so 3 to 5?
Okay. All right, that's
3 to
fine.
5. So.
3 to 5, okay, thank you. That concludes my report.
You'll put that on our calendars, please?
Will do.
All right, so county attorney report.
Thank you, Chair. The board, if you recall, asked us by consensus to have a look at what we might be able to do with the Live Local Act. The concern was that we may lose our precious commercial or industrial lands to affordable housing projects that are, we would hope, more appropriate in a residential area. We can bring, and we're planning to bring to you a ordinance that would create a 6-month moratorium, very specific moratorium. It is on multifamily or mixed-use development applications submitted for commercial or industrial lands. And it has to be time limited. The purpose is so we can update our code and comp plan to account for the Live Local Act. Our code was written without the Live Local Act in mind. And there are a few things we can do to try to mitigate the negative effects that could happen with a residential development on commercial lands, such as the setbacks, just as an example, dimensional requirements. But one thing I need to tell you is we cannot stop the Live Local Act. We're preempted by the state of Florida, the legislature. There's nothing we can do to stop it except to try to have the legislature make changes. The market, the forces are going to determine where those projects get built. But we can put a pause to give us a chance to update our code. It'll also time nicely with our comp plan adoption. We're going through the revisions of our comprehensive plan, and it will, and the 6-month mark will be right around the same time that that is adopted. I just want to let you know that'll be forthcoming.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. That's it.
Yes.
Thank you for your brevity. It's unusual coming from over there.
Careful, he's the lawyer.
All right, we'll bring it back to the dais for, let's go to community outreach. We'll open back up for public comment. If there's anybody that wishes to address the board just for general public comment for items not on the agenda. All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and bring it back to the dais for commission reports. Commissioner Hanson?
Yeah, I received, I think we all did, a message from the baseball, kids' baseball, and it's alarming. And I did the research, and I called him up, and I talked to him, and sure enough, we charge $100 a field. But we haven't charged that to them for some reason. And I talked to Heidi about it today. There's got to be some way where we can institutionalize this where we don't, it says for Pony League and Little League or something, we don't charge them that, because it turns out to be $3,000 a week for them to use the fields, and they don't have that money. You know, they don't have close to that much money. So I would like to have to task Ms. Petito to come up with a solution that we can give to them that's kind of permanent, that they don't have to worry about this every year.
Just to add to that, I agree. I'd be interested to know what, I hate to do this sometimes, but what does Palm Coast do for the Little League on their fields? It would seem to me that that might be an example of how it's done. Maybe they just charge a one-time fee or something like that. So it might be worth just checking. I think we should be consistent that way, between the city and the county. But anyway.
Well, while we're at it on that subject, I think we should have a discussion about having smoke-free zones in our parks. And we had a discussion with the director about the impact of parents smoking right in the parking lot next to the fields, and what happens when when marijuana becomes legal and that's also smoking. So I just think we should have that discussion.
I think we have no smoking signs out there already. We just got it. There's no enforcement. That's the problem.
We do have some no smoking signs or refrain from smoking for the kids' sake. That came as a result of that group several years ago that was looking to promote those smoke-free areas. So those are in place. I did talk to staff about evaluating what the amount of fees should be or what that should look like. They are in the process of already collecting that information, as well as looking at what the school board does, so that we can come up with an approach. I don't believe that in the past we've charged them as indicated on that price list. So I'm not sure if there's something new that's transpired, but I am talking to staff to look into it.
Well, I think the president of that association looked it up, and it clearly shows $100 a field, for practice.
And I have had a couple of messages from individuals who have like a senior softball group that meets, infrequently, and they, that they're going to have to pay and things like that. And I think it's worth looking at right now, plus the smoking.
I think it has come up because Ms. Petito has tasked them with reviewing that, so I think that's why it's come up. Yeah. And I think the problem with bringing the no smoking back is, although there's signs there's nothing that enforces it. So they're just signs without an enforcement procedure.
Yeah,
So we would have to codify it here.
yeah, I would be, someone gave me a copy of a sample ordinance, and I thought we could bring that up for discussion.
I think the beach, actually Flagler Beach, within their city limits prohibits it on the beach.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of examples. If everybody knows Terry Williams, and so she's definitely, has talked to me about it as well. Where are we at? Commissioner Hanson, anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, Commissioner Pennington.
Three things. One is kudos to the Flagler County Fair for this past weekend, having a great auction out there with the animals, and for raising $50,000 for the Riley Lorimore family. He was a young gentleman who had raised a pig but was unable to sell it. He is in ICU for a traumatic brain injury boating accident, so it was a great turnout for his pig. They raised quite a bit. Kudos to the county administration and staff for coming out to Bull Creek. We had a really successful meeting with the residents. We had about 30 residents or so. And needless to say, they are tickled pink to get Bull Creek back out there. And then finally, the Cisco Dean family will be celebrating his birthday Thursday night at 7 p.m. at the Holden House with cake. And they have invited all of us and would like to formally invite the commission to come and celebrate with Miss Dean. That's this Thursday, April 18th, which would be his birthday at 7 p.m. at the Holden House.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sullivan?
Nothing?
Commissioner O'Brien?
Nothing, sir.
I've only got a few. Wanted to thank Commissioner Sullivan for getting me out to Transportation Department to do the tour and inspection of our buses. Was also honored to give our transportation driver, Richard Briggs, his award. He was selected by the Florida Commission for the Transportation Disadvantage for Driver of the Year award. So it was great to take a ride around town. He's an awesome gentleman, and everybody that rides loves him. A great representative, a great employee for the county. I had a question on, maybe I'll just follow up with Mr. Mengel, but the hydrants that are down Old Kings Road South, are they active or are they dry? And I was wondering what we could do if they were dry to get those activated, because it affects fire insurance rates. So if I could just bring that to the attention of our staff anyway, and get back with me. That would be South Old Kings Road down toward in front of Eagle Lakes and that area. I think that's it. Everybody else kind of took everything. With that,
Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn.
Second.
and we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, staff, for being here.